Hi, I'm Herrick Kimball. If you're a person who likes tools, you like to use tools, you like to learn about tools, you like to know something about the history of tools, then I think you're going to like this video. I'm going to tell you about these two knives right here. Both of them are Stanley 10-499 knives. That's the model number. Stanley 10-499. But they're not the same knife. And one, this one, is far better than this one. This one right here is the currently available 10-499 by Stanley. This can be purchased in just about any hardware store in the land. You might have one. They're very common. They're a decent knife, but this one is better. I'm going to explain why it's better, but before I do that, I want you to know this is a very hard knife to find if you don't already have one. They rarely come up on eBay, and they're snatched up pretty quick. My theory is there's old-timers like me out there who know the difference, and they buy these. And so, but anyway, I'm going to show you the difference and explain to you the idiosyncrasy of this particular 10-499. The original had a little issue that led to changes. I'm sure it led to changes. I haven't talked to Stanley about it, but you'll see what I mean, and it just makes sense. They changed the design of this. Unfortunately, they didn't improve the knife in my estimation. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. I need to begin by explaining, for those who don't already know, that the Stanley 10-499's distinctive feature is that you can extend the blade all the way out, push this yellow button, and remove the blade if you want to turn it end for end or replace it, and then you just put it back in like that. Okay, so it's a front load, easy to replace knife. And this is the modern one, the up-to-date one, the one you can currently buy, the one that's not as good as the old one. Right here is the older 10-499, the one you're going to have a hard time finding, the one that is better. And it works on the same principle. You extend the blade out, but you don't have a yellow plastic button. You've got this little metal button right here that you push down and the blade comes out. Same deal, but no plastic button. You have the metal button. And you have the drawer back here for your spare blades. Okay, and you got the same string cutter. That's what that notch is, but I don't think anybody uses it. It's easier to just extend the blade and cut your string. All right, here are both of them together, and you can see that they are about the same length. In fact, they're exactly the same length for all practical purposes at 6.5 inches. But where the differences come in are on the height. Right here, I'll call that the height. The new model is almost a 1/16 of an inch bigger this way, okay? And if you turn it this way and you consider this thickness right here on the old one as opposed to the new one, it's almost a 1/16 of an inch difference, with the new one being bigger. Now, almost a 1/16 of an inch is not a lot, but our hands, the human hand, is sensitive to very small differences. And if you compare the two, you're going to find this one's more comfortable, but even more than that, if you weigh these, you're going to find that this one weighs a whole lot less. I weighed the older style on my postal scale. It's 3.3 ounces. The new one, with one blade in each of them, is 6.5 ounces. That's almost twice as heavy. If you have both of these to compare in your hand, you're going to like the old one a whole lot better. And that's why I like the old one. The quality of the way the blade works is the same. Everything's the same, except the old one's a little bit smaller in the hand and a whole lot lighter. Now, let me tell you about the little idiosyncrasy in the old version. The big problem with this knife is right here. It's that metal pin. And the problem with the pin is it falls out. If you take the knife apart. Now, why would you take the knife apart if it's a quick change front load? I don't know, but people did it. And when they did it, what happened was that little pin fell out, okay? And they weren't paying attention to that. And they didn't realize what happened, and they probably lost it. So when you take it apart, you got to watch out for that pin. And I'll tell you, if you look on eBay for these, you're going to find that many of them, let's focus please, come without the pin. Somebody opened it, they lost the pin, they probably got frustrated trying to put it back together. So that's typical, that's not a problem. You can make a pin. I'll tell you how shortly. Now, let me just show you how to properly put this knife back together. And the way to put it back together is that you make sure that your blade is in the blade holder, and you put it where it goes, and you make sure that this notch, the very end, right here, fits into there. You don't want it up like that. You need it right back there, like that. And then, holding this in one hand, you get your little drawer and you set that in place. It fits, there's a little pin on the end here, right there. Put that right in there. Then you get your other half. You'll notice that we don't have the pin. Here's the pin that gets lost, that you don't want to lose, that you need to keep track of. So the pin needs to go in to its place right there, like that. See that? And then there's a particular way to put this together. And I'm going to get up here and focus and hopefully show you. You get it up close like that, and you bring it over so the pin doesn't fall out, and then you slide it up into position there. Okay? And before you put the screw in, you test it to make sure you've got the blade holder right. And I do have it right. And then you would put your screw back in. Okay? It's a little bit of a trick. It's that idiosyncrasy. But once you learn it, you have it, and you just do it the right way. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to make a pin. Real easy. Easier than you might think. This is an original pin right here. You've seen that already. And let me find this here. Here's a replacement pin that I made. Okay, get that in focus. I guess that's good right there. You can see it. And you can see the threads on it because I used a number 8 by 32 machine screw, like you see right there, a pan head machine screw. And I put it on a grinder or a sander. I have one of those little belt sanders, 1 inch by 30 inch. You buy them at Harbor Freight. They are great tools. Put a picture on the screen here. You need to have one of these if you don't already have one. So to hold that screw while I grind it or sand it to get the size I need, I use a pin vise. This is a pin vise right here. Real handy little tool. So you just get that in there in your pin vise, as opposed to like vice grips or something like that. This is the right tool for the job. And you can work the screw head on the grinder until you get what the size you need. Same with the threads. Use a file to kind of finish up. You're going to need to know the size, unless you have a pin to compare to, and that's not a problem. I have the exact dimensions of the original pin right here in a drawing at the very end of this video. Do a screenshot and work off of that. So right there, you can see my homemade pin. It sticks out a little bit more than the original one, and I like that better. Now, it works just like it's supposed to. See that? And put it back in. Now, let me show you something really neat. Right there. You see that? Craftsman 9-9510. This, I feel safe in saying, is a very rare knife. This is the only one I've ever seen. It's clearly a Stanley 10499 that was made for craftsmen. It's got the red drawer here instead of a yellow one. That's a collectible for sure. Any of these old 10499s are collectibles now. They're users. I use all of these. But if you're a tool collector and you're thinking ahead, grab these up now. 20 years from now, people are going to realize, hey, those old Stanley 10499s, those were quite the knife. And people will want them for their collections. This Craftsman will be even more collectible, I'm sure. Okay, I want to show you something that happened on this 10499 that I've had for many years. The thumb button, I'll call it, the thing that moves the blade in and out, it fell off. Never had that happen, and it happened. So it's possible. Here's what I mean. That one's on there. And I saved it when it fell off because I was going to figure out how to put it back on. But then I lost it. It might turn up again, but it's not going to be a problem. I can fix this very easily because it so happens that the blade holder in this old 10499 is just like the one in this new one, the newer ones that you can buy now. So I will take the blade holder, the button and everything all in one piece, and I'll put it into this, and this knife will ride again, so to speak. To finish off, I want to show you the difference here between these two knives. These are older 10499s, but they're different. The one on the top right here is, I believe, one of the earlier, it's earlier than this one, okay? These are both the same size, they're both the same weight, they work equally the same, but they have three differences. First, you can see that this is flat on this thumb button, and this one has got a bit of a curve. It's a little more ergonomic. And the drawer, you can see the drawer on this one, see the flat bottom right there, and here we have I don't know if maybe that's ergonomic too. Got a little place to grip. And the other difference is right here. This has a seam that goes all the way straight. This, it doesn't. It interlocks. It has an interlocking configuration there, okay, which makes it stronger, makes it better. So even among the old 1099s, you'll find variety, but this one here is just as good, practically speaking. At least that's been my experience. And you notice a little brass button there? I made that from a brass machine screw. There you go. That's the old Stanley 10499s. The better tool than this heavy club that they now sell. Well, there you go, folks. There's the Stanley 10499 old school utility knife. If you don't already have one, I would encourage you to try to find one and put it to use. These are great knives. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the thumbs up if you like this video. Bye now.